with Steve Comrie. I've just listened to 40 minutes of the most engaging dialogue you could ever imagine. Steve has actually spent 5 months in Afghanistan with an individual named Dave Reid, where they have set up a basically free TV, where they allow and bring actually women in behind a mask to express opinions and points of views, and represented what life could be like absent the Taliban. Needless to say, there's a few obstacles that occur in attempting to do that, including threat of life and peril.
Yes.
So just absolutely captivating, fascinating. I'd like to ask Steve to just spend a moment or two and describe maybe a quick story, if you would, about this experience.
Well, my colleague Dave Reid and I went to Afghanistan to help a group of young freedom fighters, Afghans in their 20s and 30s, who had pulled together some money to create for themselves a television channel that would promote Americans' ideals to Afghans. It was interesting because this isn't something being done by the State Department or the U.S. military. As a matter of fact, they would rather not be involved in this kind of project. But these were Afghans who wanted democracy, individual freedom, and they wanted to be able to express themselves openly. And to do that with television, being the most powerful medium of all, had never been done in Afghanistan. The roadblocks were huge. The Taliban doesn't like the messaging, doesn't like television. The warlords who have been in control of the drug trade, they have their own television channels. You have politicians, some corrupt, who have their television channels. And then you have the foreign entities, the Iranians and others who promote their own ideas. This was the only channel that would promote American ideals in support of American interests. These were Afghans who wanted their country to be much more free than it is.
But done by Afghans. It
All
wasn't an
Afghans,
American
right.
effort. So the amazing story is there needed to be 11 broadcast terminals. How do you, in the mountainous region with the Taliban controlling, so the logistics issues alone you can see are all but impossible, and from my understanding you're able to overcome them and actually get something up and running.
That's right. These Afghans, very inventive, very courageous young Afghans, found ways of doing this. Even to co-opt the Taliban by giving the Taliban some money to leave the transmitters alone. Then Dave and I used our resources to help them put the channel on a satellite so that the channel, onetvmedia.com, the channel can be seen all over Central Asia into the Middle East. So it is promoting American ideals, but it's for Muslims, by Muslims, who simply say, we want to stay Muslim, we want our country to become free like America. This is how we do it. We portray these values in our television programming. So Dave and I showed them how to produce 8 hours a day of original shows, created a news division that told the news without being compromised. This is how the Ministry of Culture wanted to shut us down twice because they didn't like our news reporting, because we reported the Karzai administration was corrupt. Then we found ways to create these programs which reflect the terrible conditions for women, the struggle for freedom. All of these things are now available openly, freely on television all over Afghanistan. Dave and I were the 2 Americans who went there to show them how to do it. My contribution was to bring them $2.5 million in advertising support from multinational Arab companies and South African companies. And this effort is going to continue. We're going to need to continue to raise money for them, to help sponsor some of these Afghans. We have one Afghan, very courageous Afghan, who needs to be brought to America. His life is so at risk. We simply need to help sponsor him to get him to America. He's been a loyal friend of America and had many friends in the military who want him out of the country as well. So that's our current project. Dave and I are trying to get him here where he can be helpful.
Well, brilliant. Well, it's just such an amazing story. I so appreciate Steve coming and spending a few minutes with me here. Literally at risk of life. I just heard several stories of individuals blowing themselves up in an attempt to get to he and Dave, and it's amazing what's been accomplished here. One of my favorite sayings is do it now, do it with a purpose, and make no small plan, for it have not the magic to stir the soul of man. And this is a situation where no small plan was made, and I would contend anything of significance, anything of gravity takes a great personal sacrifice. And I really commend you for what you've done. I understand you're receiving the Freedom Fighters Award this year.
Dave and I will be the Freedom Award at the Freedom Festival July 4th.
Wonderful. Well, it's a beautiful story,
Thank you.
and so appreciate you coming. I would also comment, Steve has the background to prove it. Dave's claim to fame was he actually created the first direct TV company that was bought. Was it Direct TV that acquired your company?
Actually, Dave and I worked together running television stations, and previous to that, worked to create the company, which has now become DirecTV. So that was our
Pretty amazing accomplishments.
Yeah.
To go from that to living in Afghanistan for 5 months, that's a pretty big jump, folks. And I have to tell you, I'm sure your wife wasn't altogether happy.
No,
with it.
happy to have me home.
Yeah, I bet that's the case. So look for more to come. Again, the location to go is OneTVmedia.com. OneTVmedia.com. I'm going to make sure that I get Steve back and share his next level of insights and look for ways to contribute and support Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.